I'll figure out what to do with my hands. What do I do with my hands? Hey everyone, thanks for clocking in. This is Paul Anderson with the Break Room Arcade. Now, you may have noticed that currently Steam is running their famous summer sale, Wallets Beware. Now, you might not know this about me, but I actually work for a manufacturer running their marketing. And one of the things I've learned talking to my boss is that it is dangerous to dramatically mark down products. In order for developers to be able to continue to make new games, or continue supporting games they've already made, they need money, which means their game has to sell. So, say you go to McDonald's, and they have 2 for $5 Big Macs. You get your 2 for $5 Big Macs, you enjoy the sandwiches, you got dad bod, you go home, you go back, a month or two later, the promotion's over, and it's $5 for just one Big Mac. And it kind of strikes you that, well, this sandwich isn't that great, it's not $5 good, it's $2.50 or 2 for $5. And you don't really want to pay the $5 anymore. So we see this kind of happen in a lot of different places, especially in the gaming industry. Now, it's a little hard to translate my experience with the products we make to video games, but for the most part, I'm assuming it's pretty darn close. So we have our product, we sell it to a store for about half of what they're going to sell it for. They're going to mark it up so they can make their profit, we get our profit, everything's good. We have to take that half that we get, and we have to stay in business too. We don't really want stores to mark down our products too much because we want them to retain their value. We don't want consumers to say, oh hey, this isn't worth $20, this is worth $15 to us because the store marked it down. And I assume that it's very similar in video games. If a developer is lucky to get half of the cost of a game, then marking it down means they're making less. If you go to the store and you buy a game for $60, hopefully the developer of that game will get about $30. Now, what happens when you start marking it down? So, with Amazon, when you pre-order a game, you can save 20% off if you're a Prime member. I don't know how it works exactly with Amazon, but I would assume that $10 that you save by pre-ordering it from Amazon comes from the developer's cut. And I don't really know how Steam works either, but I'm assuming that the discounts do greatly affect what the developer ends up with. So, when games get discounted, it's harder for the developers to make back that money that they initially put into a game because their cut becomes smaller. This also has another effect on the market. So, personally, it's been a long time since I've paid $60 for a video game. When you can pre-order games from Amazon for 20% off, the value of new games becomes $50 instead of $60. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with getting yourself a discount. I noticed that personally, I pre-order a lot more games because I save money through Amazon, and I impulsively buy a lot more games through Steam sales. But I started to recognize that over time, it's easier to say, well, this isn't worth $60 to me, it's worth $30. Now, I know I've made this seem like it's a very big, awful thing, but ultimately, I think it's good for the game industry. By discounting games, you compel consumers to try things that maybe they wouldn't have at full price. Amazon will compel me to buy that new Mario Tennis game that, well, I wasn't sure about. Or Steam will get me to try Doom because it was $15. Or, for my favorite example, I bought both Borderlands 1 and 2 for $5 each, and now I love Borderlands. So, when Borderlands 3 comes around, I'm now willing to pay that $50 through Amazon versus the $5 that I paid for the first two games. At a lower cost to consumers, it's more compelling for them to buy more games. And so, while developers might get a smaller cut of the pie, I think ultimately they'll sell more copies of their games and they'll make back their money. Alright guys, that about wraps it up for this video. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. Hit that like button, and if you haven't yet, please subscribe for more of these videos. So, quick shout out to our patrons, Devin and Santiago. You guys are awesome. Thank you guys so much. Your help really means a lot to us.